So what's up, guys? We are back in Cyberpunk. Today we're going to do a little review on DLSS and how it impacts the game. Okay, so before we go any further, I want to take you through basically what the graphics settings are set to. We're not going to be changing anything except for DLSS. For the RTX 3080, film grain off and motion blur off. I hate both of those things. You guys can change it, obviously, if you'd like it. Everything else is either set to high, ultra, or psycho setting if it has that availability. So pretty much this is going to be running maxed settings. Ray tracing, all the stuff's turned on. And again, ray trace lighting, that has the setting for psycho. So that's all maxed out. DLSS, like I said, this is kind of like the benchmark that we're going to start with. And so that's going to be turned off. Going up to video, pretty simple here. VSync's turned off, max FPS is turned on. We really want to see where it's going to get to. I do have it set to max at 120, but I already know we're not going to get there. But ultra wide monitor, 1440 by 3440. Okay, before we jump into the game, I wanted to back out real quick to show basically the machine or system specs that I'm running it on. Intel Core i7 10700K, overclocked to right around 5100 megahertz. GPU is the RTX 3080. Is overclocked slightly. Motherboard is the Asus Tech Strix Z490. Does have 32 gigs of RAM, and it is on a M.2 NVMe 1 terabyte drive for nice snappy stuff. Okay, so let's jump in. Okay, so what we're looking at here is DLSS turned off. Average frames per second on this little run is right around 26, 27 frames per second. This is a 3080 FE card. There is now, obviously there's the 3090 out. There is the AMD 6800 and 6900 XT cards. And pretty much everything has been kind of the same, right around these 30 frames, 35 frames per second. I mean, like I said, this is maxed out 100%. Is it playable? Sure. You could absolutely play a game with 30 frames per second, but it's going to feel a little jittery at some points. And I'm not even showing like mins and maxes of a full game would be. There's no explosions and stuff like that. This is just based off of lighting and reflections and just a lot of stuff on the screen at once. So over the next, I think I got 5 videos. This is basically going through all the different settings of DLSS. Our next one is quality. So we'll see what that bumps us to. Okay, so this is the next one. This is DLSS turned to quality. Now I'm going to show you. There are 4 settings. Actually, there's 5 if you want to include auto, but there's quality, performance, balanced, and ultra performance. But right off the get-go, look at the difference. You're almost doubling your FPS right off the get-go by just turning DLSS turn to quality. Making it an even more playable game. Now you're hitting that 45 to 50 frames per second, much smoother in graphic quality. In my eyes, I don't see a difference. I don't think a lot of people really could. Maybe if you bump it up to like 4K. I am only running 1440p ultra wide, but I'm sitting at a monitor and I honestly can't tell the difference.
You want trouble?
Right around, sorry man, right around 45, 46 FPS average. So a huge boost just off the turning it on quality and making it that much better for not a lot of degradation. Okay, so for this one, this is now turned to balance. I think we still got 2 more after this because we still have performance and we have ultra performance. Make sure it's all set to balance. So quality, we were running right around 46 FPS. This one is right around 56, 57
You again?
FPS. So we're gaining,
I told you, I'm not buying. Yes, I'm
10
sure.
FPS.
No, I'm not changing
quality.
it.
And again, I'm not seeing a huge difference. Where I start seeing stuff is where there's like thin lines, and if you look above that building, that blue neon light, you see how it's starting to kind of start showing if there's jaggies. If you grew up in the PlayStation age era, it's because of that low resolution, and that's what DLSS does. Is it basically upticks low resolution to make it look like, or upscale low resolution to the resolution that you want. You can start seeing that in power lines and really off in the distance type things that typically wouldn't look like that. But for this case, this instance, there's not a lot of things that you actually can see where the jaggies are showing except for the lighting element. But even then, even if you're not looking at that, you can't really tell a huge difference still. And now we're at a more playable FPS. Okay, so back to the start of the scene. DLSS Performance. Graphics. And down to performance. So yeah, it looks like you gain another 10 to 12 FPS going to performance. But again, looking at just the quality differences to the normal naked eye, I honestly, if you're not nitpicking things, they do a great job with upscaling it. And ray trace shadows, ray trace lighting, ray trace reflections, everything still looks really good. Now again, your eye, for me, goes right to the top of that building, that neon light. Just notice how it's not as high resolution, and you're starting to see those jagged edges. It's not anti-aliasing it very well because of the upscale. All of this still looks really good. Lighting still looks really good. Even this round, you get up into the 70s a little bit out there. So this one's definitely, if you want to lock in that over 60 FPS all the time, or 60-80, this is probably where you want to be if you like having that 60 FPS all the time. Okay, so last one is ultra performance. This one, again, 10, 15 FPS more. In my eyes, when I look at this, I feel like it has that motion blur. This is blurring a lot more. It's just a lot lower resolution. Still doing a decent job upscaling. Getting 80, I mean, it even pops to 100 and something once it gets out of this area. So again, I mean, it's definitely playable. It still looks amazing. And if you're trying to get above that 100 FPS or even further above that 60, I mean, obviously this is the route to go. Now I know lower cards, maybe even in the 20 series, this may be a huge option where you can have all the RTX settings turned on and get the benefit of all this the lighting effects and the ray tracing shadows and everything else, and still be able to play the game with all those things set to ultra. Still, again, looks really good. Okay, so basically to end this video, I'm gonna say my pick is probably the balanced. If you're somebody that wants everything turned up, everything turned on, um, all the bells and whistles, and it still look good, and you're getting that solid, 55 to 65 frames per second.
You
Um,
again?
Keep in mind
I
that this
told you,
is
I'm not
this is
buying.
worst case. No, I'm
Yes,
not even
I'm
gonna say this
sure.
is worst case scenario.
No, I'm
There
not
is just a lot of
changing
stuff
it.
going on in this scene. Um, and if you're just out driving around, you may be in the 65, 70 frames per second. Just night typically in games are the crappiest looking. And for me, this game at night is where this game shines. Like that's where it looks amazing. During the day looks good too. But at night it has that opportunity to get multiple light sources and getting these kinds of visuals. It's just unseen. You don't see it. Typically, I would always hate nighttime. GTA 5, didn't look the greatest at night. It looked great during the day. So yeah, it goes to show how badass the future is going to be with this ray tracing. Um, so yeah, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, drop me a subscribe. I do stream live over on Twitch, and link is down below. Have a good one.